I was halfway through putting on my mother's lipstick when I heard my father's car pull into the driveway. And I froze. One heel on, one heel off. Red sari wrapped clumsily around my body. My hands shaking so badly I smudged the lipstick across my cheek. For 26 years I told the world I was someone I wasn't. A normal son. A strong man. A perfect example. But that night I wasn't hiding anymore. The door handle started turning. And in that moment I had to decide. Was I going to keep living a lie? Or was I finally going to meet my real self? Let me take you back. My name is Ayan. I'm 26 years old. Middle-class family. Strict father. Loving but traditional mother. The kind of household where log kia kahenge was more important than tum kaisa mesus kardi ho. And here's the shocking part. My father always wanted a daughter. I grew up hearing it as a joke. Kosh meri ek beti hoti. If only I had a little girl. Every time he said it, everyone laughed. But I didn't. Because something inside me would quietly whisper. What if I am? I think my feelings started when I was 8. I remember watching my cousin get ready for a wedding. The bangles. The eyeliner. The dupatta falling softly over her shoulder. I wasn't attracted to it. I was drawn to it. Have you ever looked at something and felt like it belonged to you, even though the world says it doesn't? I would wait until the house was empty. I'd sneak into my mother's cupboard. Touch the fabric. Feel the softness. My heart would race like I was committing a crime. It wasn't about fashion. It wasn't about pretending. It was about identity. But I didn't have the words for that back then. All I knew was this strange mix of shame and freedom. And that particular night, the one where my father almost walked in, it wasn't random. It was my breaking point. Because earlier that day he said something that changed everything. He looked at me and said, "Be a man, Ayan. Stop being so soft." And I smiled. But inside, something shattered. Drop a comment if you've ever smiled outside while breaking inside. That night, I decided I was done pretending. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So that night, after dinner, after the usual silence at the table, after my father gave me another lecture about being strong and acting like a man, I went to my room, closed the door, locked it, and just stood there. You know that feeling when your chest feels tight, like something is trying to escape? That was me. My reflection in the mirror looked tired. Not physically, emotionally. I kept thinking, how long are you going to live like this? 26 years of hiding. Of lowering my voice. Of changing how I walked. Of pretending I didn't notice beautiful fabrics in shop windows. Of laughing at jokes that hurt me. Part of me was terrified. What if this means I'm broken? What if this means I disappoint everyone? What if my father never looks at me the same way again? But another part of me, a quiet, stubborn voice, whispered, "What if this is who you've always been?" Have you ever argued with yourself like that? I sat on my bed for almost 20 minutes just debating. Then I opened my mother's cupboard. My hands were shaking so badly I almost closed it again. I touched a red sari she wore at weddings. It smelled faintly of jasmine and perfume. Familiar. Comforting. This is crazy, I whispered to myself. But it didn't feel crazy. It felt necessary. I told myself, just try it once. Just see. No one has to know. I wasn't thinking about labels. I wasn't thinking about the word crossdressing. I wasn't thinking about society. I was thinking about breathing. Because for the first time in years this felt like I might finally breathe. I picked up the sari. And in that moment fear and excitement mixed together in a way I can't even describe. My heart was racing like I was about to jump off a cliff. Little did I know. Actually was. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And what happened next changed everything. Deep breath. I locked my door again. Checked it twice. Then 3 times. You know that paranoid feeling? Like suddenly every tiny sound feels louder? That was me. I laid the red sari on my bed. The fabric shimmered under the yellow light of my room. My hands hovered over it for a second. Once you start, there's no going back, I told myself. But honestly, I had already crossed that line the moment I opened the cupboard. The first challenge? Figuring out how to wear a sari. I had watched my mom do it 100 times, but when it was my turn, total disaster. The pleats kept falling apart. I wrapped it too tight, then too loose. At one point I almost tripped over it and had to grab my study table to balance. And I actually laughed. like a real laugh. For a second, the fear disappeared. Have you ever done something you were terrified of, and then suddenly it felt fun? After finally managing something that looked like a sari, I opened my mother's makeup pouch. This was the part that scared me the most. Foundation. Lipstick. Oh. I had no idea what I was doing. I squeezed too much foundation on my hand. It dripped onto the floor. I panicked, wiped it with tissue, almost left a stain. Calm down, Ayan, I whispered. I applied lipstick, and completely missed my lip line. It went crooked. I looked ridiculous. For a second, shame hit me hard. What are you doing? This isn't you. But then I looked closer. The eyes staring back at me weren't confused. They were curious. So I fixed the lipstick. Slowly. Carefully. I applied kajal, my hands trembling, and when I finished, my eyes looked different. Softer. Alive. I put on my mother's small gold earrings. They felt cool against my skin. I adjusted the sari one more time. Took a step. The fabric brushed against my legs in a way jeans never had. It felt light. Flowing. Free. I tried walking. First step. Awkward. Second step. Better. Third step. I actually felt graceful. And then something happened that changed everything. I looked up, and I finally saw myself.